Can you rank your listings in the Etsy search without SEO? You know, if you want to get more sales on Etsy, you need to be seen by potential customers. And you've heard that ranking in the Etsy search is a great free way to get seen by lots of new buyers. But SEO sounds confusing. All those tools and tags and keywords. Do we actually need this? And who are you to be giving me advice? They're all great questions. Hi, I'm Duthie. I have been on Etsy since 2008 and I've been helping people grow their Etsy shops since 2017 with this YouTube channel. I also work with eRank, in my opinion, the best tool to help you with Etsy, and I've even been lucky enough to be involved with Etsy as an EtsyU and Etsy Shop Camp presenter. So hopefully I can help demystify how to rank on Etsy. Let's start with SEO. SEO simply stands for Search Engine Optimization. This is the things you do to improve your positioning on a web page in the organic search results. Or translating, SEO is all the things you do to rank your listings higher in the Etsy search. It's not just tags and hours of research, it's anything you do to rank higher. So, no, you can't rank your listings higher in the Etsy search without SEO. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they just don't really understand what SEO is. Now, we've answered that question, so let's dig into the steps that we need to do to rank higher in the Etsy search. The very first step is keywords. To rank in search, you have to know what you're ranking for. Otherwise, it's impossible to track your success and very hard to optimize when you don't know what you're optimizing for. Keywords is another thing that sounds complicated, but it is just the words or phrases that customers are typing into the search bar. We want to try and identify at least one keyword for our listing, and what you want to look for is something that describes your item. If you're trying to sell a sun hat, but you notice buyers are searching for a gold ring, but you decide to try and optimize for gold ring, it's likely that you won't make many sales. When a buyer searches for gold ring, they don't want a sun hat. It also has to have buyers searching for it. To steal from my friend's style and more, you could decide to rank in search for the phrase floop-de-whoop-de-woo-ah, and it's likely you'd be able to rank your listing and search for that. But no buyers are actually searching for that, so it wouldn't get you any views or sales. And finally, it has to be at a low enough competition that you're able to rank for it. That is the number of other listings that are also likely to show up in the search for that keyword. The more there are, the harder it's going to be for you to stand out. Obviously, it sounds like you're looking for keywords that have high numbers of customers searching for them, with very few other people making those things on Etsy. That would be the perfect thing. But Etsy is such a large established marketplace, so it's hard to find keywords like that. So most often we'll have to compromise and find the best keywords that we can and experiment with them and see what works best. But how do we find these keywords? The first thing you can do is think them up for yourself. How would you describe your item? What is it? What's it made for? Who is it for? Make a list of the terms that you think are really relevant for your items. Some people are just really great at getting into the mind of a buyer and knowing what people will be searching for. Often, though, as crafty people, we can get too stuck in the process that we actually use to create the thing and not realize that buyers might not understand the craft. I struggled with this for a while as well. I make needle felted sculptures, but in 2008, no one had heard of needle felting. So, me ranking in search for needle felted dog would not get many views from potential customers. I had to think more like what people would be searching for if they saw my items and they would love it. Sometimes this has even given me ideas for different things I could make. Cat bookmarks were really popular, and I realized I could make bookmarks, and my felted bookmarks really stand out in search. Also, a custom dog sculpture, dog lover's gift, or even the specific dog breeds. People in certain breeds can be avid collectors of anything to do with a breed. They don't care if it's a mug or a felted sculpture, they're searching for the name of their breed. You can also ask your friends and family what they would call your items, or better yet, ask them to search on Etsy to find items like yours. Seeing how people search can actually give you ideas for keywords. Often people start with a broad term and narrow down, so perhaps they type handbag into search but don't see anything they like. Instead of starting the search again, they might tag words onto the end of it. So handbag leather. Handbag leather. Again, nothing. Handbag leather red. The exact phrase people search for can look confusing because of how people actually search. If you already have an open Etsy shop, you can check in your shop stats to see what keywords have worked for you in the past. And of course, there are tools that you can use. There are three kinds of tools I like, with the third being my favorite. First is Google Trends. This is a comparative tool. If you have an idea of two different keyword phrases, you can look and see which ones are better. And you can look over a large period of time, but the limitations with this, it doesn't really give you an idea of how many people are searching, just how keywords compare to each other over time, or how they compare to themselves over time. It also doesn't give you Etsy specific data. You can see things like Google searches and Google shopping searches, but these can be very different to what people actually search for on Etsy. But at least it gives you some ideas of potential trends. I actually have a video on this tool if you want to know more about it. The second tool is the Etsy search bar itself. This tool auto-populates suggestions when you start typing something, and Etsy has said these suggestions that appear for you are based on what buyers have searched for on Etsy. But there are a few limitations with this. Etsy doesn't tell us when buyers searched for this term. Was it today or 2 years ago? And we've no idea of how many people are searching. And of course, at the end of the day, this tool is designed to help buyers, not sellers. So we should be wary of reading too much into it, especially if you have to type a lot of words before Etsy suggests it. Generally, this means no one is really searching, but the suggestions bar took a guess at something to suggest. The suggestions that show up when you've just typed a letter or two into Etsy are most likely to be the most searched for keywords. So, of course, my third and favorite tool is eRank. Using the eRank Keyword Explorer, you can type in a broad keyword and you get all sorts of data specific to Etsy. How many actual users were searching for that keyword, how much competition there would be. That is the number of listings that are already in the search, how often users click on that keyword term, and even its popularity trends over time. Even better, when you scroll down, you get a whole bunch of other suggestions based on customers searching seller tags or both. So now, hopefully, you have a nice list of potential keywords. I would run them through eRank so you can get an idea of how many people are searching and what the competition is, so you can compare these keywords to each other. And with all this data, you can pick out the keywords that seem to have the best potential for these listings. I call these my superstar keywords, or potential superstar keywords anyway. So we know the keywords that we'd like to rank in search for, but how do we make them actually rank, or at least give them a chance to? Here's where the SEO comes in, but actually, this does not have to be all that complicated. Although there are lots of factors that Etsy looks at when ranking a listing in search, many of them really don't have much of an impact. So you don't have to stress about having the perfect listing. It's better to get it listed than spend weeks getting the SEO all nailed in. It can't sell if it's not listed. Etsy has a great article telling us the main factor, which I'll link to in the description, and that is well worth a read. But I'm going to simplify things by cutting to the actual important steps. Obviously, make sure your shop is set up correctly and it's enticing to buyers. Have a little about you, and even if needed, have some FAQs. And good customer support, so the customer you have already had and selling items you legally can sell should be a given. Bad reviews, cases against you, copyright claims, all of this will hurt your entire shop. But to SEO your listings, there are really only three really important things. The first is your title. This is the top way of explaining to Etsy what your item is all about, but it's also what your customer sees. This is the most important place to put your superstar keywords. It's best practice, and I prefer only adding a couple of your superstar keywords. You do not have to fill in all the space here, but different things work for different shops. So it's worth experimenting here to see if longer titles with lots of keywords or shorter titles work best for you. The second place is your tags. The keywords that are in your title you want to repeat in your tags. The rest of your tags are less important. You don't need to spend too much time on them. You can add some of the other keywords you found, synonyms of your word, or even things like the recipient's gift for dog lover. The third and most important thing, really, is how customers respond when they see your listing in search. You could have everything filled in perfectly in your shop, but if buyers don't click on your listing when they see it in search, Etsy will start to think your listing is not a very good listing and will rank it very low in search. Buyers buying when they see your listing is called conversion, and there are some things you can do to hopefully give your listing a better chance of converting. But bear in mind, you're doing these things for the customer, not for the algorithm. These include photographs. You don't have to be an amazing photographer, but photos and videos are the only way your customer has to get to know your item. Eye-catching photos are a must. Always be working on improving your photos. And descriptions. Although descriptions factor in ranking too, it is really only a small amount. Most importantly, your description is helpful to your customers. It explains your item and answers all their questions, and perhaps even helps them fall in love with your wonderful handmade item. Price, yes, price, free shipping, etc., they all do factor. But it's not often the case that the cheapest is better or that you need free shipping. Quite often, people associate a higher price with better quality. This is something again to experiment with while making sure you're still making money. And really, that's it in terms of SEO. Pick the category that works best for your item. It isn't really going to make that much of a difference. Choose variations and attributes and shipping that works best for you. I know if you're selling, you're always looking for that little thing that you forgot. If you pick the right category, then suddenly sales will flood in. But really, their difference is minimal from most shops. The most difficult bit, this is coming up now. Are you ready for this? Wait. Leave those listings alone. You can check a tool like eRank's Rank Checker to see if you did manage to rank for your keyword you're aiming for, at least to start with. A new listing gets a little boost in search while Etsy gets to see how customers react to your listings. Then give those listings a good couple of months to see how they perform. You can use this time to work on other listings. But really, as basic as that sounds, that is all there is to ranking in Etsy search. Pick keywords. Tell Etsy what your item is with titles and tags, and make sure your listing has everything that customers need to trust you and fall in love with your item. Once your listing has run for a while, you want to check how it's done. Check out here for my guide to using your stats.